This is from Mr. Wen in Henan, China. I think some moments become unforgettable, not because they're perfect, but because everything goes sideways at once. My daughter's wedding was meant to be beautiful, yet one mistake of mine became the story everyone remembered. That morning, I kept smoothing the folded speech in my pocket, hoping it would steady my nerves. My hands shook anyway. I wanted my words to honor my daughter, but I feared they would collapse the moment I stepped into the spotlight. Walking into the banquet hall felt overwhelming. Bright red decorations blurred with the noise of chatting relatives, and the floral scent seemed too strong. People greeted me warmly, yet I stood there feeling strangely detached, as if my nerves had separated me from the celebration. Relatives patted my back, saying how proud I must be, and I was, but pride didn't quiet my heartbeat. I worried about stumbling, crying too early, or unintentionally creating an awkward moment my daughter would remember for the rest of her life. Then I saw my daughter near the stage, glowing in her dress. For a moment, everything softened. I remembered her small hand clutching mine at crowded markets, and how she once insisted I carry her so she could see the world more clearly. When the host announced it was time for my speech, I felt every gaze turn toward me. My legs grew oddly heavy. As I walked forward, I tried to breathe steadily, hoping no one could see how tightly I pressed my lips to hold myself together. Standing at the front, I bowed and looked toward the man I believed was my son-in-law. I didn't study his face closely. Emotion made my vision warm and unfocused. I simply trusted that my words would find the right person at the right moment. I began thanking him for choosing my daughter, speaking about her stubborn streak and gentle heart. These were lines I practiced late at night, wanting him to understand how deeply she was loved and how sincerely I hoped he would care for her. But as I spoke, I noticed subtle reactions, quiet murmurs, exchanged glances, small shifts that didn't match the joy of a wedding. One relative raised her eyebrows repeatedly, almost urgently, yet I interpreted it as encouragement instead of the warning she desperately tried to send. The man I addressed stood uncomfortably still, his smile strained. I thought nerves were making him stiff, overwhelmed by the moment. What I didn't realize was painfully simple. He wasn't my daughter's groom at all, and every word was meant for someone else entirely. Midway through my speech, something felt off. A faint uneasiness settled in my stomach, like a quiet voice whispering that I'd missed something important. Still, I pushed forward, hoping the odd energy in the room was simply nerves settling into place. Then I heard a soft whisper ripple through the guests, too subtle to understand. A few people shifted uncomfortably, their expressions caught between amusement and concern. I tried to continue, but a part of me sensed the room reacting to something I couldn't yet see. I glanced at the groom again and noticed his hands gripping each other tightly. His eyes darted around, almost pleading for escape. I assumed he was overwhelmed by my sincerity, never imagining the true reason behind his frozen, uneasy smile. Suddenly, my cousin stepped closer to the stage, leaning forward as if preparing to whisper. Her expression carried a warning I couldn't quite decipher. Before she reached me, someone tugged her back gently, worried about interrupting a father's heartfelt moment. I continued, though the words sounded distant to my own ears. Doubt tapped insistently at the back of my mind. Something about the man's stiffness, the guest's subtle confusion. It all felt like a puzzle I should have been able to solve sooner. Finally, a relative slipped behind me and whispered, barely audible, "That's not the groom." My breath caught. The sentence didn't make sense at first, like hearing a familiar phrase in the wrong language. I froze, unsure whether I should stop or pretend I hadn't heard. Embarrassment surged through me so quickly I felt my ears burn. My instinct screamed to turn around and apologize, but another part of me, one shaped by years of avoiding public mistakes, told me continuing might cause less chaos than abruptly stopping. In many Chinese weddings, avoiding public embarrassment is considered an act of respect. People often stay silent when something goes wrong, hoping to preserve harmony and save face for everyone involved. even when confusion is obvious. I steadied my voice, choosing to finish the speech without revealing what I just learned. Each word felt heavier now, balancing sincerity with panic. I tried to shift my gaze subtly, searching for the real Groom without drawing attention to my mistake. When I finally stepped aside, my heart pounded so loudly I could barely hear the applause. The real Groom approached me gently, his expression soft with understanding, as if he knew exactly what had happened but didn't want to make my embarrassment any worse. My daughter gently took my arm, her smile trembling between reassurance and suppressed laughter. "It's okay, Dad," she whispered, though her eyes sparkled with that unmistakable look of someone witnessing something both disastrous and deeply endearing. I wanted to disappear and laugh at myself simultaneously. Then the man I'd mistakenly addressed, the wrong Groom, approached me. He gave a polite bow, cheeks flushed, clearly unsure how he'd become the emotional centerpiece of a wedding he wasn't part of. His awkward kindness only deepened my embarrassment, yet strangely softened it too. Around us, guests began to relax as the truth settled in. A few covered their mouths, trying to hide their laughter, while others exchanged sympathetic glances. Instead of judgment, the room carried a warm amusement, as if my mistake had broken an invisible tension. Someone joked softly, "Well, at least it was a beautiful speech," and a wave of gentle laughter rippled through the hall. Hearing that loosened something in my chest. The world didn't collapse. No one scolded me. People were simply human about it. During the reception, several relatives approached me, some patting my shoulder, others teasing kindly. Each one reassured me that weddings often have unexpected moments and that mine only made the day more memorable. Their warmth eased the sting of my earlier panic. Still, a quiet worry lingered. Had I overshadowed my daughter's special day? Had my mistake become the main story instead of her happiness? I watched her laugh with friends, wondering whether she truly felt unbothered or was just sparing my feelings. Later, I found the real Groom and apologized discreetly. He smiled, shaking his head. "Uncle Wen, it's fine. Honestly, it was touching, even if it wasn't meant for me yet." His graciousness humbled me further, easing a weight I didn't realize I'd been carrying. He even joked, "Don't worry, you can give me the corrected version later." That small humor, offered without any resentment, reminded me why my daughter chose him. His kindness mattered more than any perfectly delivered speech ever could. That night, after the celebration ended, I sat alone for a while, replaying everything. The confusion, the panic, the laughter afterward, all of it tangled into a memory I couldn't erase. I felt embarrassed, yes, but also strangely grateful for how gently it all resolved. I realized then that weddings aren't perfect ceremonies. They're living moments shaped by emotion and unpredictability. My mistake didn't ruin anything. It simply reminded everyone that love isn't polished or flawless. It's human, awkward at times, and sometimes accidentally directed at the wrong person. When I finally lay down that night, the quiet felt almost unfamiliar after the noise of the banquet hall. I stared at the ceiling, replaying the moment I thanked the wrong Groom, wondering how such a heartfelt intention could spin itself into comedy so quickly. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized something simple. My daughter was smiling all day. The Groom was kind. The guests were gentle. Maybe the memory I made wasn't perfect, but it was honest, and it was mine, and it still came from love. If you've ever made a mistake in front of people you care about, I hope this story reminds you that most hearts are softer than we fear. If anything here spoke to you, feel free to leave a comment or share your thoughts. And if you'd like more stories like this, consider subscribing for more real, human moments.